I have felt stuck in my life and in feeling alive for a couple of years now. And I would like to speak about that a bit. I am 41 years now, and I have 2 children, 1 and 5. I have a partner that I have been together with for a couple of years, and she loves me. And every now and then I feel like I'm in these depressive periods. And what I notice is that I find it very difficult to act on something that allows me to build in my life, that allows me to create a sense of financial safety. I have an unemployment job. I have a job. I have an employment job that I'm not particularly fond of. I don't feel alive in there. And in my mind, I wanted to have my own business for a long time. Build something online that gives me location independence and financial possibilities. Don't want to be rich, but I do want to have more money than I have now, because it's not a lot. It's also that I want to offer my children more possibilities. We have it good, like we don't feel poor, but there's not much space. And lately, it became more and more apparent, the struggle also in the relationship, where it points to me in my masculinity, let's say. In my masculinity of having a direction, of being able to take responsibility in the family, of providing. And oh gosh, there's so many things that come to mind. It's difficult to. I want to structure what I want to say, but at the same time, I want to just speak. And in my mind, this whole picture is so faceted. There's so many ideas, and I will just refrain from trying to squeeze it all into one sharing, and instead just explore bit by bit. Going by what is alive in me right now. Maybe I don't make sense to you. That's fine. I mainly do this so that I gain some clarity and I move into self-expression, because this is something that I have not been doing for a very long time. And I've always, I know I'm generalizing, I'm not always, like for a couple of years now, I have stopped expressing. I have lost touch with what I enjoy. And I think it comes also with more responsibilities and more routine as part of our family life, which, as you might know, if you have children, having 2 children is different than having 1. Having no children is different from having 1. And the sense of personal freedom changes. And the fact of personal freedom changes as it relates to just doing what you want whenever you want. And what's apparent to me now is that I have lost touch with myself in giving myself the permission to also be there just for myself, having still a life for myself, and not to only think, at least, that I have to show up in family. And a lot of this struggle that comes with that has to do with how I see that in myself. It's not an obligation that is outspoken in my family from my partner or so, but I think I have to be there all the time. And I can't be there for myself, take time for myself, do something for myself. Even though my partner, super loving, tells me that she feels better when she knows that I do something for myself where I enjoy myself. Because that gives her the feeling that she can relax, that I can take care of myself, that I can self-direct and not just vegetate, not just exist, but without a joy for life. I'm really blessed with this woman by my side. And I'm really struggling with what's going on inside of me. And I noticed that it's time that I turn my awareness to what needs attention inside myself and the patterns that are running inside of me, so that something can heal, something can take ownership inside of me, where I can take ownership of myself as an individual that has individual needs and desires and longings and needs and wants, and also an individual that lives in community with others, in this case my family, where it's not just me. There's a responsibility there that comes with being an adult and having a family. So today, again, in maybe the taking the taking the danger at risk that I might not make sense, but just to express, today I realized that it's not just one single source, one single reason why the stuckness appears or has been appearing for many years now. And for a long time I had this thought like, well, at some point later it will all work out. But as these nice sayings go, like, the future does not really exist. Everything that counts is in the moment. It's in the present moment that you make decisions. So when in the present moment I don't feel connected to making a change, that I'm not committed to something, but rather play it safe, half consciously move in my own established patterns already that always bring me where I have been. So there is an act of actively changing something, turning awareness on in a way that I need to own, that I need to be responsible for, or otherwise nothing changes. And honestly, at 41, even though it's not that old, it's also not that young. And currently I have a bit the feeling that I wasted a lot of time in my life. And I have young children and I want to be a role model. I want to show them how they can enjoy life, but also how they can hold themselves in life, how they can be self-directed, how they can be in life and thrive, like live a good life, whatever that means to you or me, or so they don't just vegetate. And there's a grief in that, of feeling I have not lived life well so far, which is not saying that life has been bad. Life has been also very good. And even this perspective is a frame of mind that has established itself inside of me as a habitual way of thinking and seeing life. And somehow that pisses me off a bit, because it's not helping. I don't like it that I feel that way, that I think that way. And I'm stuck in that kind of loop. So coming back to what I wanted to say. So what I noticed today, there's not one single reason for this. I noticed there's a whole ecosystem of, let's say, ecosystem of aliveness, an ecosystem of what has me feel connected to myself and to life, and not be afraid, not being stuck in the sense of survival all the time. That is contributing to this sense of aliveness inside of me. So there are different areas. When it comes to depressiveness, it might well be a mental health problem, but it might as well have to do with nutrition. Am I lacking some vitamins or trace minerals or some minerals or some good food. Like, what am I lacking inside of me that is affecting that from a purely biochemical perspective? Is there some trauma or traumatic experiences or childhood influences that want to be looked at now? That I am moving into this age where I feel I'm entering the second part of my life, and I'm not at fault for what happened to me in the past, maybe, or the experiences of my parents and where they came from, but it's my responsibility what I do with that now. So looking at this to contribute to some healing, let's say, for myself, and in turn for my family that I'm affecting by my presence. Then it is also like, how do I move my body? Am I moving my body, or am I simply living in my mind, basically like being dead head downwards? And there's quite some not movement happening. And I know I've been excited about martial arts a couple of years ago, and then I moved, and then I have been not in the area anymore to continue that. And I haven't done much. I mean, I've been moving, I've been walking, I had a dog for a long time, but like this, what many call this masculine energy, this energy that wants to move, that has an impulse and initiative forward, that is making a move, that creates momentum. I have not cultivated that a lot. In a way, I have a lot of feminine energy inside of me that is just roaming around, floating around. And I'm not saying that this has to do with women per se, but this, let's say, the quality of feminine, masculine, as it's sometimes described. So more like the nurturing, the restful kind of energy, while at the same time the masculine is maybe more the directedness, the forward moving, the creating, the embracing and holding, the awareness. So I notice I'm lacking that, and connected to that is also what is happening in the brain, you know, like key hormones. And there's a beautiful book that I started reading, High on Life, that talks about how can we harness the power of these hormones to affect how we feel, how we live, what is expressed in the body. So, for example, for me, I have a sense that, for example, some testosterone is missing inside of me, that could contribute to a bit more of this forward drive, while at the same time also some oxytocin is, for example, sometimes missing. Sense of connection, sense of joy. Yeah. And in turn, there's more like these hormones, stress hormones like cortisol active in me. So another area is then, what am I experiencing right now that is part of this ecosystem as a symptom, more like a signal and a message of the body, where I'm often not listening to the body, and then treating the symptoms. Like our medical system often teaches us, like, you have to fix that, you have to get rid of the symptoms. But what are they telling me? That I'm a lot tired? Is it pointing towards physiology and chemistry, or is it pointing towards a lack of meaning in my life? So yeah, I'm rambling. So I noticed there's this whole ecosystem of influential areas that all impact my sense of aliveness and impact my ability to take action, and that impact also how much I ruminate in my mind and stay stuck in my mind and feel disconnected from my body and disconnect from people, and rather feel fearful and feel more like in survival. So what's also part of that is, and this is, I noticed I had made online content for some time, especially around the topic of personal boundaries, inner clarity, etc. But what I notice is this stupid pattern of mine to try and generalize things for other people instead of looking at what is true for me. And this distance to myself has this has a flaw, and that is that I think I need to teach other people something. But what I notice is, at the same time, I did not live what I thought I was teaching myself properly. So I want to change that and rather speak only about my experience. That that has me face the fear of, and this is like deeply ingrained in me, this idea that you have to be an expert about something online. You have to have a teaching opinion about something. And instead, leaving that shit aside and rather sharing from my very human, individual point of view. Not to say that others should consider that or it's true for them, it's just true for me. And I use this as a way of expressing and clarifying something inside of me because I love expressing. I need that. It's a bit of like oxygen. It's a bit like therapy for myself, actually. And maybe, potentially, on the side, by sharing it, other people see it, and it might be of help for them or be of value to them. But it's not the purpose why I'm doing this. It's more like a side effect. And putting something out in the world is one way of being in touch with other people, because that gives me meaning, gives my life meaning. So I was thinking to change how I'm expressing, to not get stuck in paralysis mode and fear of doing it right, and not trying to find a plan and a structure for a channel and having a theme for the overall thing and then filling in the gaps, but rather treating every expression as a standalone piece of share that is true in the moment. I think it will underlyingly, in the bigger context, have a coherence with what I'm sharing, because it's always about the same stuff. I noticed that over the years. I always think it's like wildly unrelated, but it's not really. It's a bigger picture that you cannot put in one video or in one sentence or in one share, because it's emerging over time. So it's more for me to understand myself better and find some creative expression, finding some joy again, doing something meaningful, and see what it does in the world also. Because I do like the contact while I'm afraid of it. That's interesting, eh? Yeah. So that's where I am. I don't really like how I'm living at the moment. I have the hopes that I can change. And I notice that change has been very difficult for me, because change is not just something on the surface. Change is more like a transformation in a way of being, how I relate to myself. And it involves skills and a practice and a regularity or a consistency of showing up for myself. And I noticed that I need to really rewire certain concepts and ideas that I have about expressing myself, for example, as I said. Yeah, that's where I am right now. I leave it at that. And the next one will be as well, just see what is alive in me. Yeah.